Brandon, come in, Brandon. We need a cleanup on aisle Harris. Brandon, cleanup on aisle Harris. Repeat, Brandon, cleanup on aisle Harris. Hey, folks, great to be here. Yes, there needs to be a cleanup on aisle Harris. Now, it used to be cleanup aisle Biden all the damn time, but now we seriously need to clean up on aisle Harris because she is racist. It is blatantly obvious, folks, that Commie Harris is racist. You see, it just so happens, I believe it was last Thursday or Friday, I didn't even hear about it before I got to it on this program, where the Cackling Commie had to go on and say, well, lower income communities need to be priority to get aid because lower income communities, primarily black and brown communities, are more adversely affected by these unmitigated natural disasters. Fact check. This was Fort Myers, folks. And in Fort Myers, especially Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel Island, and Pine Island, these barrier islands on the Gulf Coast aren't low-income communities. They're rich white people. And of course, CNN tried to make a cleanup on aisle Harris by posting an image of one black woman in a community, which if you looked in the background, yeah, that community wasn't ravaged at all by the storm. Saying, well, we haven't gotten aid quick enough. And that's CNN, that's their thing. But the truth of the matter is, folks, is the areas that were hardest hit by Hurricane Ian are not low-income minority communities, for the most part. Bunch of white folks living on the beach. And it's not cheap. Now, for people that don't live in the state of Florida, don't know how much it costs to live in the state of Florida, the average rent in Miami is about $2,200 a month or more for a two-bedroom. Fort Myers is more expensive. It's a beach town, much of it. So how low income are more affected by the storm makes zero sense. And of course, you have Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary of the Brandon White House, going on and saying, well, yeah, no, we need to give these priorities to these people before anybody else. Well, how about giving it to the people that are the most affected by the disaster, which by and large are not your low-income black and brown communities? Now, of course, once Commie Harris screwed this up and made these statements, CNN, PMSNBC, CNBC, NBC, CBS, the usual suspects, all stopped talking about it. They stopped talking about the storm. Remember, you had Joyless Beha, as I spoke about last week. Well, DeSantis says he doesn't want to be in the charge of climate change and this, and you got a Category 4 hurricane coming right at you. Category 4 hurricanes have been hitting Florida for the past, since Florida's existence. And there were some statistics that were put out the other day. The actual most likely place to get hit by these storms is actually Southwest Florida, followed by the Panhandle, followed by Southeast Florida, i.e. Miami, whatever. And then your Jacksonville area is the fourth numbers of storms. I believe 65 major hurricanes have hit since the 1800s have hit Southwest Florida, and then that number is about 60. And when you go to the Panhandle, 50 some odd when you go to Miami, whatever. I'm not here to bring out statistics about where in Florida you're most likely to get hit by a hurricane. I'm here to say, well, hey, clean up on Isle Commie. And meanwhile, before that, you had Joe Biden go down to Puerto Rico and talk about how where he grew up in Delaware was a huge Puerto Rican community. So he's like maybe kind of Puerto Rican-ish. So he tries to act. First off, wait. I thought Joe grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. You see how it turns the tide. This is just how the politicians work. And then again, we have another thing here that kind of coincides with this. So Biden came down here, this is a Wednesday, to talk about the storm and survey the damage and everything else. And he was wondering what was going to go on when he met DeSantis face to face. Goes on saying DeSantis did a pretty damn good job. I mean, 99% of Floridians have power now, with the exception of the two places that were completely wiped off the map. My aunt lives in Fort Myers, but east of I-75. She had power within 3 days. So this is unprecedented. The work that Ron DeSantis has done at mobilizing all the emergency crews and everything is unprecedented. It pales in George W. Bush's response to Hurricane Katrina pales in comparison to what DeSantis has done. And that was ultimately what ruined it for the Republicans. George W. Bush, if he was a president or any political figure now, will be labeled a rhino, Republican in name only for those of you living in Rio Linda. He's a lousy individual. He's hold on, you got some blow. I think him and Bill Clinton should be great friends ultimately. But anyhow, so again, Commie Harris's word salads, they're always going around. And then, of course, the left media to try and cover that up when Ron DeSantis stated that this is a Second Amendment state, and if you loot, they will shoot, as is their right. And then everybody in the fake news media is like, oh, DeSantis is encouraging violence. Oh, my God. And it's funny. It's funny how all the hypocrisy works. No, it's a Second Amendment state. You loot, they'll shoot. And I know a few people that work for Florida Fish and Wildlife who are deployed to Fort Myers. And word is on the ground around Fort Myers Beach, yeah, all the citizens are open carrying to let them know they don't want to be screwed with. There hasn't been any problems because they're open carrying. That's probably part of the reason. They're all toting their Glocks. Some of them are walking around with the 12 gauges. They don't want to be robbed. This is not California. This is not New York. This is Florida. And it is a very conservative, quote unquote, redneck part of Florida. They have nothing left. And what they do have left, they don't want people to steal. You loot, they shoot. We're a Second Amendment state. Of course, DeSantis got hell in a handbasket for it, but it is the truth. We are a Second Amendment state. And you know what? There hasn't been much looting. Now, this was New York. There's looting in New York every day regardless anyway, but you know what I'm getting at, folks. So, we have all that, and now, so Biden came down to survey the damage, and DeSantis had said to Biden, it's a lot, you see the damage from a helicopter, but it's a lot worse on the ground. And Biden had to go and say, because, clean up on Isle Harris, the governor's done a great job, and of course the governor said, well, this is a bipartisan effort, and this, that, and the other thing. Mind you, his wife, and if you guys want to make a donation to the victims of Hurricane Ian, you can go to floridadisasterfund.org. which is a website that First Lady Casey DeSantis has set up for donations, and I believe it has raised over $30 million in just a week, which is unprecedented, way more than we thought we would get. And that's not government aid. That is the people of Florida coming to help the people of Florida. We have a good joke around here. It's like, yeah, I mean, Miami, where I am at, everybody, we've sent a lot of people over there, and the running joke is, these people that are making the donations, they cut you off in traffic and give you the finger. But when it comes to when the excrement's about to hit the fan, they're going to give you all they can. And that's the great thing about the great state of Florida. In fact, one of these days, I might just have to put the Florida flag behind me if the Democrats remain powerful. I haven't ordered one yet, but it might look pretty good, I mean, a lot of people are saying the Florida flag's racist because it's got a cross bars, but hey, one idiot to another. So anyhow, we have our massive amounts of money being raised. The bridge to the Pine Island there in Lee County has already been makeshiftly rebuilt, which they thought would take forever. Power's been restored to 99% of people. I mean, DeSantis' response to this is unprecedented. It's great. And I think, as much as I hate to say this, folks, I think Donald Trump's getting a little scared. Because Donald Trump went and criticized Biden. Said the governor did a great job, but didn't mention him by name. Now, of course, we all know that Ron DeSantis would not be governor of Florida without Trump's endorsement. No way in hell. Because, most people don't know this. Ron DeSantis, and hold on a second, I need a drink here. Ron DeSantis was somebody that most Floridians had never even heard of when he ran for governor, especially in the primary. He was a representative from, I don't even know what part of the state. That Trump had endorsed him, and he was running in the primary, the Republican primary, against Adam Putnam, who was former commissioner of agriculture. And sadly, I must admit, I voted for Putnam in the primary because I didn't know much about DeSantis. I just knew that he was maligned, maybe by the rhinos. They tricked me. I didn't know Adam Putnam was ginger either. Otherwise, maybe that would have changed my outlook. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. And then once DeSantis got the nomination for governor and who he was running against, oh my Lord, it was an African-American man by the name of Andrew Gillum, who we all know got caught in a hotel in Miami Beach, passed out, butt naked, with a male prostitute and meth. And guess what, folks? DeSantis only beat him by 30,000 votes. We also know, and it is documented, there was a lot of election fraud going on in the counties that Gillum won by a landslide, i.e. Dade, Broward, Dade not so much, but Broward and Palm Beach. DeSantis' first move as governor was to fire those elections. People change the way they vote and everything else. So I'm pretty sure there ain't going to be so much illegitimate voting in the state of Florida because we don't just mail ballots out to everybody like you shouldn't. And, I'm pretty sure DeSantis, Clay Travis seems to think DeSantis is going to win by 10 points. I think he might win by 5 because Orange Man Charlie, Orange Man Charlie's been attacking him. Now, if you're a junkie for the Weather Channel, you're going to hear a lot of Orange Man Charlie commercials. Like, you've fed up every time you fill up, ticked off every time you buy groceries. Well, you can blame DeSantis because he raised gas taxes. No, actually, DeSantis didn't raise gas taxes. In fact, I believe right now we are one of the cheapest states in the country to buy gas. In fact, DeSantis, back in February or January, when Brandon started screwing everything up with the gas, which was long before that, had decided he was going to put in a suspension of the state gas tax, which is 21 cents on the gallon, starting October 1st, because he knew what the Brandon administration was going to do. We had some pretty high prices for a while, but not as high as the rest of the country, like California and this, that, and the other thing. And when Brandon opened the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which was stupid because we have a war looming and we may need that oil. We're not going to have it because he's giving it to other countries and using it to drop the price of gas so the Democrats don't get shellacked in the midterms. Now, of course, they had to cut that off, and now the price of gas is going up again. Aside from that, DeSantis knew that he was going to have to cut off the flow, and it would be right around this time. So for the next 6 months, yes, we are getting gas 21 cents a gallon cheaper because there's no tax on it. Now, of course, if the national average of fuel goes to $7, $8 a gallon, then we're only going to be about 21 cents cheaper than the rest of the damn country. But that's Biden's fault, not DeSantis' fault. So Charlie Crist had the gall to say DeSantis raised gas taxes. He never did. He just waited to suspend it because he knew what the Democrats were pulling. Like I say, this is, I mean, I don't want to see a Trump-DeSantis matchup because much as I hate to say it, folks, I'd have to flip a coin because I love them both. But I don't know. I think that the way the left is attacking DeSantis, they've Sauron's eye. Sauron is the left. His eye has turned toward DeSantis, kind of distracted from Trump. His orcs are rolling around Mar-a-Lago and rolling around the Trump Tower in New York. But his eye is focused on DeSantis because DeSantis is the biggest threat. He has handled everything so well. And again, the Democrats, notice this, folks. The Democrats now, even the Democrat media, is bringing up the Hunter Biden thing like this. Hunter might have a problem. Just a day and a half after Biden said DeSantis was doing a damn good job handling this. Now, of course, Biden also went to talk about climate change, and this is global warming, and this is this, that, and the other thing. He had to politicize it in some way, shape, or form. However, it's not playing so well along with the Democrats. The Democrats, I don't even think they wanted Biden to come down. They wanted him to stand his ground. Now he has proven that he is maybe not as left as people think he is, but he doesn't know what he is. The other thing going on about that is that, again, they have the Hunter thing and Harris with her screw-ups. I think they just want them gone. And I think the Hunter thing, if Biden pardons his son for the wrongdoings that he's done, because let's be real, if it was Hunter Trump, bye-bye, locked up, throw away the keys, send him to Guantanamo Bay. Hunter Biden, oh shit. Biden just said DeSantis did a good job. That doesn't look too good. That might cost us some votes. Maybe we need to lock up Hunter and then he can pardon him and then we can get rid of him and we'll just agree with that. But then we got Commie Harris. And if we don't run her, then we're racist and we're not really Democrats because we're not running a black woman, even though there's a hell of a lot of people. I leave turds in the outhouse that are more black than Kamala Harris. She's not. She's British Indian, and she's rich with a little bit of Jamaican speakers on that. Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. So, the next thing here, OPEC and not giving Biden what he wants. You see, I don't understand why he can't just start drilling here in America. And that's going to bring me on to another thing. There was a guy that works for oil companies that called into Sean Hannity yesterday, and I'm going to use Sean Hannity's radio show as my reference on this. And he said, well, I'm a scientist for these oil companies, so I know oil is not dinosaur juice. It's simply not. Coal that you get on land, primarily, is plant matter that has been degraded from over time, turns into coal through the sedimentary compactions and this, that, and the other thing. Petroleum, your liquid oil, is basically sea plants. Through time, they go through the sea floor. They get compacted and compacted and compacted. So figure this, folks. Like in California, you have these big, huge kelp forests, right? But the sand, I mean, any of you have ever walked walked on the ocean floor, 9 times out of 10, it's not solid sand. It's like muck. These plants eventually die. They get compacted into the muck, and over thousands of years, they turn into oil. But the Democrats want you to think it's dinosaur juice, and all the dinosaurs are dead, and eventually there's not going to be any left. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's a completely reproducing oil well. Now, it may not, we have enough strategic oil, oil in the United States to last easy 500 years. And by that point, we will have the ability to make cars run on renewable energy. You might be able to harness the power of the sun in such a way you can have a solar panel on the back of your car. That works just fine. But instead, right now, if everybody went to electric vehicles today, you would lose the entire power grid. You would lose it. We just don't have the wherewithal to do it. Democrats don't want you to think that, though, because Democrats are always going to have power because they got their batteries and their solar panels and this, that, and the other thing. And that's one thing that they don't tell you. Go for solar. You know how many a single family home who runs strictly on solar would take, these batteries are huge. I would say probably about this big by yay big, and probably about 15 of them, and their whole backyard would be covered in solar panels just to cover the average American household. Because you need the batteries. And what happens to Mother Earth when those batteries go bye-bye? You can't just recycle them. No. Those batteries are made with super toxic materials, which we get from Mother China. Yes. So these EVs and these batteries and everything are supporting Mother China. That's how much it is, folks. Oh, make China rich again. Well, they're not getting rich again. They're already rich, and because the Democrats are so damn stupid, they're making them even richer. Oh. We draw a straw. What part of country you want? Oh, I don't want. No. Take New York and California. I don't. No. Take the left coast. I don't want it. Leave Florida alone. Anyhow, and so, yeah, that's their game. That is their big game. Electric this, electric that, this, that, and the other thing. We have, and the other thing this individual spoke about is most oil is made by plants. What do plants do? He was speaking about the photosynthesis equation, folks. And for those of you living in Rio Linda, or I should say, New York City, talk about science, this, that, and the other thing. Photosynthesis is, any education person would know, but most people in New York and these places aren't educated because the only education they know is that they think men can get pregnant. And that's just not the case. They have no idea what exactly photosynthesis really is. Now, photosynthesis, basically, as many would know, is, let's see, I want to try and pull this out here from back in my college days. Process of photosynthesis, commonly written as 6CO2, 6 plus 6 H2O equals, or turns into, C6H12O6 plus 6O2. So you have carbon dioxide, CO2, which is what the Democrats are blaming global warming on. It's stupid because carbon dioxide is a very poor greenhouse gas. And 6 water molecules are converted by light energy, i.e. the sun, captured by chlorophyll, i.e. the plant, into a sugar molecule that produces 12 H2O6 and 2O. So essentially, you get 12 molecules of oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen, 6 molecules of oxygen out of 6 molecules of water. So it takes carbon dioxide, turns it into oxygen. Your biggest producers of H2O are, they always say, the rainforest. It's actually the sea plants. The plants in the sea, your kelps, your this, your that, they actually do undergo photosynthesis, even though your liberal teachers probably won't tell you that. They say save the rainforest. But truth of the matter is, most oxygen that's produced from plants actually comes from the ocean. And it is those plants that decay, turn into oil, and therefore you have fuel. It's not going away like the Democrats want you to think. Photosynthesis is always going to continue. The rainforest helps, but that turns into coal when it degrades. Your oil, that's what. Why do you think, folks? Why do you think most oil wells are offshore? Because oil is produced, petroleum is produced. And I don't remember who this guy's name was that did call in to Sean Hannity and explain this to everybody, but he should be awarded a damn Nobel Prize. Of course, the liberals won't listen to Sean Hannity, don't listen to Sean Hannity, but that is the fact of the truth. The fact of the truth. Now I'm starting to sound like Kamala Harris. The passage of time. That is the truth, is that, our oil supply isn't going anywhere. It's regenerative. And it probably doesn't take thousands of years to make it. It may take 1,000 years. Nobody really knows. It's just speculation. I mean, think. In theory, they have all these science things. Take a bunch of damn kelp, just as an experiment, and put it in a high pressurized chamber under heavy compaction, and see how long it takes it to turn into oil. Petroleum. Essentially, it's not oil, it's petroleum, like a black sludge tar, which you have to refine. And you get gasoline, and you get oil, and then you get plastic. Plastic is a byproduct of oil, again, for those of you living under a rock. I'm watching cops out here. Okay. Yeah. At least we're not in Chicago. Otherwise, I'd be ducking my head. Bullets flying through the window. So anyhow, folks, like I said, don't listen to the Democrats, because what they tell you is 9 times out of 10 is completely wrong. They they don't make any sense. And they like I said, they tell you lies. They pretend to be all about the science. They're not. They don't know anything about science. They know woke science. They know how to tell you how a man could have a baby or get pregnant and get an abortion, which at this point in time isn't possible, but they would wish it to be. They know how to tell you how women can compete in sports just as much as men. Sure, if they do steroids, yes. But that's not the case. No, unless you're, I'm sure I could get out swum by many women, but I'm a drunk and I don't swim. But professional athletes wise, it doesn't work that way. So cut the woke shit. Get out and vote in November, which is next month. In fact, it is just under 1 month. No, 1 month. 1 month away. I believe it's November 8th. Unless you're like Joe Biden, then you can sit on your ass and watch your 401k and everything else go right down the outhouse. And if you want it back, you're going to have to dive into that shit to get it the hell out, folks. Anyhow, let's go, Brandon. Subscribe, like, comment, and do share it. Do share. Oh, one more thing, folks. Before I close, I forgot to mention it. Stephen Colbert. Oh, do I hate Stephen Colbert. Go to ChristianAction.org, folks, and sign the petition to make him accountable for calling Jesus a cuck. I mean, Jesus, you never saw him with any women anyway. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't like to watch his woman get banged by another guy if he had one. That being that, conservative Alex Jones, Bill O'Reilly was canceled for calling a woman hot chocolate. Give me a break. Bill O'Reilly was canceled for calling a woman hot chocolate because she was black. But Stephen Colbert gets to skate for calling the religious figure of 2/3 of the world a cuck. Stephen Colbert needs to be held accountable for this. Go to ChristianAction.org and sign the damn petition. Let's get rid of this cock asshole whose name is Stephen Colbert. Let's be real, folks. It's Open Bar Friday. Let's get rid of that asshole. Cheers, folks. See you next week.